Hello, everyone, and welcome to ZinoNation, episode number 55, double fives. How is everyone tonight? I think we got a good show planned for you. Marcus and I have both done extensive testing on the new firmware for the Hubsan Zino 2 drones, so we're going to get into that in some detail. And we'll talk about the FIMI X8 SE 2020. A lot of people have had their order canceled. I see Sam Burns already here in the chat. He had his order canceled, but I think Bill, the drone reviewer, kind of pulled that whole mess out of the fire for him. But we'll get into that a little bit. And then at about 9:30, we're going to have a secret special guest is going to come in and talk to us about a really big battery issue. So everyone don't go anywhere. You will not want to miss this guest and this story. So, and if anybody can guess who the secret guest coming on is, you could probably win like a Hubsan Zino 3.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, with that laugh, I'm going to turn it over to my co-host Marcus Crawford. We'll catch up with him. He looks a little tired. He just came back from WWDC in Cupertino, California. He's got all the lowdown on all the new Apple news.
Oh yeah, all the Apple stuff. Boy, wouldn't that be fun? That'd be a fun one to go to. That'd be fun.
I don't. This isn't going to be an Apple show. The only thing I'm going to say is, Marcus, I hope you sold your Intel stock.
I don't have any Intel stock, and you are absolutely right. Apple put the kibosh on Intel today. That's for sure. Yeah. Hey, so no, we got a lot going on today. We've got a lot of ground to cover with the Zino 2, and obviously speculation about the Zino 2 Plus, and then obviously, gosh, it just seems like all these drones coming from China. There's just always something going on with them, and the FIMI X8 SE 2020 version is no exception. So plenty to talk about there. If you want, Ron, I can touch a little bit on the disaster that is the Potensic Dreamer 4K, and there's a story behind that as well. So,
I left a link in the show notes here to Marcus's Zino 2 video update, but I did not leave the Dreamer link. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's all right. Yeah, the good old Dreamer.
So where do you want to start today, Marcus?
Well, shoot, Ron, it is ZinoNation, so we probably should start with the Zino. What do you think? Because we both have recently I put together a video, and yours, you're working on yours right now, right?
That should be dropping tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So we had a firmware issue, a firmware update. With the Zino, and it was all about stability and landing and so forth.
And we've been beating the Zino 2 up on that for the last few weeks. And before we forget about a week before the firmware update, an app update came out, so they probably played in combination to some degree.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Although the app, it was all the liner notes were in Chinese, so we don't know what it said. But
yeah, our translator is still working through that right now.
Yeah,
people.
And I like that you put John Coopy's comment up there, because he is absolutely spot on, and it just I mean, I can so relate, John. I mean, you do get tired of it after a while. You don't mind working through an issue or something like that, but when it's the same story over and over again, on top of waiting for some Chinese retailer to send it to you, and they have your money for 3 months and so forth, I'm not gonna lie, it does start to wear on you after a while. How about you, Ron?
Yeah, I mean, we knew early on this year. I mean, from the Zino 2 tipped us off. I mean, we both ordered that thing before Christmas. We didn't get it until the middle of March.
Right.
First of all, it was delayed before the coronavirus even hit China. So they used that as another reason why it was going to be delayed, and on and on and on. And all the drones at CES seemed to be delayed except for the egg drone. And then the the Evos were late, which part of the CS group, and then now the FEMI X8 2020, which we'll get into Sam Burns' case. But go ahead, Marcus. You got.
Well, don't forget the V-copter, Ron. You're missing out on the V-copter.
When did that V-copter ship, Marcus?
Well, you know what? I can't remember who it was, but I saw a comment. I believe it was on Facebook that somebody said they got an email that it's going to ship soon. So maybe someday we will see something about the V-copter.
They make it in 2020, and it may not. But anyhow, we're going to go. We'll kind of go. Move point to point. So I'm going to let Marcus's video is already up, so I'm going to throw it to him first. I mean, he was looking for the Zino 2 firmware update. In the notes, some of the things were improved landing and hover and whatever. So we were really looking for those two things. And of course, Marcus was looking for other things too, like the gimbal not having these micro shakes. That was another thing you were looking for big. And you also tested if you flew it low to the ground, whether it would drop out or not. So what were your findings on many of these issues?
Well, you know what? All of the above is still there. So I do believe it's improved, but it's incremental. So it did seem like it shut off the motors faster. I didn't have any of those landings where the motors kept spinning for 30 seconds after the thing was already on the ground. However, I did still see in the altimeter this particular time, you look at the video, it showed actually a negative number on the altimeter. The other thing that I noticed when I was doing some of those low-level flights is the altimeter seems to be, or at least there is a delay on FPV. On what you see is the number on FPV. So what happened a couple of times as I went forward with the drone, and typically I was 2 to 3 meters off the ground. I think I did one flight where I was about a meter off the ground. But when you would come to a stop at the end, it would raise up. It would raise up to about 5.5 meters, and then it would sink back down to, a meter, less than a meter. I had one time where it literally mowed the grass. I had hands off of the sticks, and it came down so far. You'll see in the video, it's blowing up grass. It's mowing the grass, and then it came back up. So that tells you that those downward facing sensors still aren't doing much. Although I will say this, while in forward flight, it was fairly level. And you know how when you're looking at that, when you're flying, sometimes it could be an optical illusion. It looks like it's dropping and it looks like it's climbing. But when I looked at the video afterwards, it looked much more stable on the video than it did to my eye while I was flying it.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. So I think, I think they have made some incremental improvements. Now I did, if you look at that video also, I had one point where I'm getting ready to do the droney, the manual droney that I always do, and I'm backing it up, and I had the sun up above me and lens flare like no other. I mean, it almost completely obscured the view. You just almost couldn't see anything till it got past that direct reflection of the sun. Now, I know that Ron, I know that's a bigger deal for you than it is for me, and it's typical of all these problems. Some things are, bother other people more than they do. Honestly, that lens flare thing, for me personally, it's something I could probably deal with and not get too upset about. The thing that really, the number one problem with that drone, from my perspective, is the micro shakes that you get in the gimbal. And I have seen them. Everybody that posts a video online, I know Josh from Parks and Tech was in here just a minute ago. Josh, I've seen it on your videos. I've seen it in almost everybody's videos. And it typically, it's as the drone is descending. Sometimes it's in fast forward flight, but not always. But if you look at almost anybody's video with the Zino 2, particularly if you're on a bigger screen, you may not notice it on a small screen, but if you're on a computer screen or a TV, you're going to see that. It just drives me up a tree. So anyway, all of that said, I still like the drone and I still like flying it. It's fun to fly. It's like a Formula One racer. When you have it way up there in the air, up 50 feet in the air, you don't know anything about that instability or any. I mean, it's up there in the air flying, right? So that problem disappears. And my hope is that they can still figure out and give us some improvement. For me, the big issue is those shakes in the gimbal, and that's about it. Ron, how about your experience?
Well, I want to review a little bit. Mark and I talked about this off air a while back. I was reviewing Zino 1 footage that I shot last summer, just about this time, about in June, and I saw micro shakes in that video also. So this may be a carryover from the Zino 1. And something Marcus did mention, he touched on in his video, that with the Zino 2, every time you go into software setting, you have to reset every single setting. It always puts it back to 12. But if I'm not mistaken, Marcus, that's also a carryover from the Zino 1. I think the Zino 1 put everything back to maybe not in every single firmware update, but in the majority of them, I had to reset the settings in the Zino 1 almost every time I flew.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying every firmware update, but most of them, I go in there and I have to, like for instance, my pet peeve is the grid, like having that grid on there. And the Zino, I'd always have to turn that darn grid on.
Yeah, well, the Zino 2, you lose everything. It always defaults back to 4K 60.
Yep.
And automatic on white balance and no grid lines. So,
but I think that's like the micro shakes. I think that's kind of a carryover from the Zino 1.
I'm gonna very differ on that one, Ron. I've gone over, just because you and I have talked about it, I've looked back at some of my older footage. And I couldn't find it. Mine was pretty smooth. So I'm
glad you brought this point up, Marcus. It goes to what I forget who told me about like this, and it doesn't just apply to Zino, but we'll make your Zino is not the same Zino as mine. Maybe you had a better Zino 1 than I did, and I think I have a better Zino 2 than you do. Okay, I'll start with the landings, which I thought was the biggest issue with the Zino 2 was how badly it landed. Johnny the drone flyer, and I don't know if Johnny's in here yet, but he contacted me the day he got his Zino 2. We got ours on the same day because he had this terrible landing and almost flipped over on him. He was kind of in a frazzle or whatever, and it did the same thing to me too. And they've improved it, but now, they really did. I'm sorry, I misspoke. They haven't really improved it much with the firmware updates done. But now I must have landed it like 6 times the first day I tested. Next day I landed it a couple more times. It lands perfectly. I'm going to say 8 times in a row. Comes down, you hold the thing down. It spins for a second. It doesn't roll around in there, jump around, start going up again, catch a wind and going up. It just comes down, lands, and turns the motors off. So on mine, they had that nailed. Almost as good as a DJI drone. Not maybe the case with Marx's.
Well, let me interject, Ron, because I want to agree with you, because I've seen, for instance, like on Josh's video, Chad B's videos, they get down about, I don't know, a meter or a meter and a half, probably a meter off the ground, and the drone goes into landing mode, and it says right on the screen, landing, and you can hear the lady say landing. Mine does not do that. Mine, it waits till it's probably 6 inches off the ground before it goes into that landing mode, and then you hear the lady say landing. Sometimes it doesn't do it at all. Sometimes it never goes into landing mode. So that goes back to your point that all of our drones are probably different, a little bit different.
I've only ever heard that lady come on and say landing one time, and it was when I had a toilet bowl issue, and it was kind of a crash landing. It was the worst landing I've ever had with the thing. That's the only time that lady's voice ever came on and said landing. So I never get it. But I mean, that doesn't mean it doesn't land nice. I just don't get a voice saying it doesn't. Okay, now and this will all be in a video I'm coming out with tomorrow. And I did the hover test, and I've had it hover good inconsistently in the past. I've seen it hover like a DJI drone in the past, and I've seen it not do well in the past. And that could be one flight to the next flight. But I must have took it up and hovered it at least a half a dozen times more when this video is coming out tomorrow. And every time it stood there like it was like a rock. It didn't move. Now, the first time I took it off, I mean, it did slightly decrease and slightly increase again to where I took it off. But as far as moving left, right, or north, south, whatever, it just stood right over the pad. And other times, I've even seen where it had no drop at all on some of the other things. In other words, it was good enough. I mean, if that was the best they've ever got it, it's good enough. You could take it off a hover and turn your back on it and do something else and trust it to be in the same spot. And that's all you really need. You know, you trust it to be at the same spot and the same altitude when you turn your back to the, when you turn back, face the drone again.
Yeah, one more point I want to make as well, Ron, is that if the drone was priced at $400, I could be thinking about this stuff way differently than I can at $550. And you and I have talked about this privately.
Right.
You know, if you're going to pay that full price that Hubsan is asking, that $550, man, you're just a fool not to pony up another $250 and buy the Mavic Air 2 because it's 10 times the drone.
Exactly. And I've got more news for you today. I looked at Banggood and GearBest earlier today. The Zino 2, just the Zino 2 that we have now, not the new model, the one we have now, is priced in the upper 700s now. It has moved up. It's almost $800 on those two sites right now.
So I've got another comment for you there, Ron, because I got an ad from Hubsan, and they were showing the Zino 2 with a code for like $409, and I got all excited. So of course, and Koopy can attest to this because he's seen it a million times. I went in and tested the code, and heck no. The cheapest I could get it down to with a code was about, I don't know, 510, something like that, you know. So with those websites, when they publish an ad, no matter what they say the price is, it really doesn't mean anything. You better go in and check those discount codes.
Thanks for that. And back to what you were saying before, I kind of mostly think of the drone as a $399 drone, what I paid for, but of course,
because we got it on that introductory deal.
It's not a $399 drone anymore at this point. Maybe it will be again in the future, but right now, so everything I'm saying is based on me buying it for $399 drone. Okay, now I didn't test what Marcus did. I didn't low fly it across hover it low across the ground and push the throttle straight ahead and see if it dipped in the ground. And I guess I did that with the Zino 1 when it had the issues. But even if I did that and it performed badly, I couldn't compare that because I don't do it with any of my other drones. I don't do it with my DJI, my Parrots. I don't do that test with any drones. So I wouldn't know if it performed better or worse than any of them because I don't do low, I'm going to say under 5 foot flying, off the ground, low flying. So I didn't test that. So as far as the camera, the gimbal, it seemed like it was no change. Yeah, but it didn't say there was any change in notes, so they were about the same, and I expected them to be the same. And the app, I didn't know the only big addition to the app we talked about is where you get that kind of DJI like startup screen where it gives you tells you everything's okay before you take off, and
which is awesome. I love that feature.
Yeah. So anyhow, that I'm very happy with these updates for me because it seemed like they improved my drone more than they did Marcus's. And, I don't really see, the the micro shakes the gimbal. Somebody has to point him out to me. I have to go back and look at him a couple times to see him. That means it's probably not a big deal to me. So, but as Marcus was saying, the lens flare isn't a big deal to him, and the micro shakes aren't a big deal to me, because I'll tell you what, if I do see him, I just cut that piece of the video out anyways or whatever. Now, I know what you're saying. That could be your home run. The best part of your video could be the part I had to shake in. But, you know, I would just cut it out and keep the good bits in. So, I mean, it'd be a bigger deal if it did it from the minute you took off to the minute you ended. But, you know, again, they should get, but that being said, it should be fixed, no doubt about it. And I hope they're working on it. And, you know, we talked about, we got to get off the Zino here for move on to the Phoebe here. But, you know, I think Marcus, and he told me, and I checked it, the new Zino 2 Plus is on the American Hubson website, and I believe it's what, $549.
It is on their website.
Yeah.
It's the same price as the original Zino 2. And what I think is odd about that, of course, we talked about this last week, so we don't want to cover it too much, but okay, so they changed the transmission system, went from asynchronous to synchronous, whatever that means. I don't pretend to understand what that means. And it got them another kilometer. So it went from 8 kilometers to 9 kilometers of range. I got to tell you, I've never had an issue with the connection on the Zino 2.
Right,
So
right.
I'm glad they improved it. I wish they'd focus on the other stuff.
Exactly. We got Al Duran in here. He did a great range test last week of the Zino 2. He got it way out there. I don't remember his numbers, but he got it way out there, you know, and got it back. Got a battery left.
Yeah, Chad B did a great one too.
Yeah, he did. Okay, let's move on to the FEMI X8 SE 2008. These names now. Sam Burns, who I hope is still here, he was in here earlier. He reported on the Facebook group last week that. You know, they just Banggood just randomly canceled his FEMI order and I guess refunded his money. But luckily, Bill the drone reviewer jumped in real fast and found him a link to get it at B&H Photo out of New York City. But of course, not at that same low price. I think he paid. What do you remember what Sam paid?
I think it's $5.99 or something like that. And I think all in with he ended up. Yeah, well, Sam's in there now, so. Yeah, so probably a little over 500, Sam, I think, something like that.
Here, I've got the thing up here.
Yeah. In any case, also they seem to be shipping immediately from China. So if you order it from Banggood's Chinese warehouse, they seem to ship immediately, and you have it in a week or two as well. And that, I think, is about $420, something like that.
So what, are the guys in the U.S. warehouse, are they like go on vacation or something? Or?
You know, who knows what that issue is. But Ron, all of us got an email from Banggood. All of us that had ordered from the U.S. warehouse got an email. And they said, hey, sorry, we don't have your product. You have 3 choices. One was they would give you a refund. The second one was, hey, use that credit to buy something else from us. Yeah, right. And then the third one was to wait. Now, if you clicked on that third one, to wait, they also had another dialog box that asked you to put in a date. The issue is that it would only go up to like June 24th, and we're on the 22nd now. So I clicked out on that very, very far one, the 24th, and Josh is touching on it right now. Here's my thought. You know, never say never. I never want to lock myself in a corner on anything, but if they end up canceling my order, I think I'm done, Ron. I've got a 2018 version. Everything I've seen on the 2020 version, well, Josh had issues with his. A lot of people have had issues with him. I know, like Bill the drone reviewer, he's got the tilted horizon that he has been spending a lot of time with. Hey, I've already got a FEMI X8 with a tilted horizon, so why do I need another one?
Right.
So I'm not, you know, never say never. I'm not going to cancel my order. So if Banggood ever ships it, I'll take it. But if they cancel it on me, I just don't think I'll reorder anywhere else.
Definitely understand. Sam Burns is 558 out the door to him, and I think he'll have it like a day or two. So that's a good thing. But back to what we were saying before, and I think Sam has a Mavic Air too, so already. But I'm just saying at that 558 price, that's kind of pushing up there. Where if you're gonna shell a 558 and you don't have a Mavic Air 2 or whatever, maybe you just find another $250 and get the Air.
Here's the frustrating thing about that particular drone, Ron, and you flew mine, so you are very familiar with it. It is a fun to fly drone. Mm-hmm. It is not quite at DJI level with flight controls, but the flight controls on it are good.
They were good enough,
Right. And what I wish we could do is I wish we could get Hubson to teach Femi how to get a stable horizon, and I wish we could get Femi to teach Hubson how to build a stable flight and no shakes in the gimbal. But yeah, so anyway.
Or maybe the companies can merge. And also we have to teach them not to make one drone not as good as the one before. Don't send Marcus a better or worse drone than you send Ron.
Well, I'd like to hear from some of the guys. For instance, like I know Josh has had both drones, I believe. Did you see, Josh? Did you see a big difference in the camera quality, etc.? I've not seen anything definitive on that, on whether the 2020 version, whether the camera is that much better than the 2018 version. Because Ron, I think you said it well. The 2018 version, that camera is acceptable. It's not great, but it's not bad either, right? It's just, it takes decent 4K video.
As we kind of talked off there, all the cameras on Chinese drones outside of DJI products, whether it's Banggood, Hubson, I have the Femi Palm, camera here. I mean, they're all pretty good cameras, but they all suffer the same weakness. They're not good at handle and exposure. Like if you turn them anywhere near the sun or the bright sky, that's where they kind of fail. But if you aim them away from the sun, they do a pretty good job. But they're kind of consistent across the board with that kind of weakness of whatever. And I don't know if it's because they don't use. So John, I don't know the reason. I just know that they're consistently have the same issues.
Yeah, see, Josh is saying there that he believes that the camera does look better to him. So.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah. So that's good to know, Josh. Thank you. The other thing that we want to talk about before our special guest comes in, Ron, is I noticed, I think Brian Singleton is who brought it up, is that DJI now has the smart controller as a refurb for $599. Oh, my finger's getting itchy here, Ron.
And unlike most things in the refurb store, it's in stock. The refurb store is like a wasteland for like things that are out of stock, but the controller's actually there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And $599. Holy cow! Now, if they'll get that going for the Mavic Air 2, that's going to be a tough one to turn down, buddy.
You're right. You're right. I couldn't blame you for, especially if they cancel a Femi order and you've got that extra money laying around.
Yeah.
There you go. Reply right over whatever. So and if you want to hear more about the smart controller and the Mavic Air 2, go over and visit Bill the Drone Reviewer's Rover Talk Show tomorrow night, where Marcus and him will be taking a deep dive into the smart controller. But folks, we have our special secret guest waiting in the in the star room there, whatever, the lounge, probably drinking the champagne and everything we have backstage. And he's going to come on with probably could be the scoop of the week here. I'm going to call it Battery Gate. He's found an issue with the Mavic Air 2 batteries with the most recent firmware update. And I don't quite understand it, so I don't want to tease it too much or say anything wrong. But with no further ado, it is Bill Thomas from Coast to Coast Drones. Welcome in, Bill.
Hi, guys. I just wanted you to see my name. So take Josh's name down. I want you to see what it says. Take Josh's name down. See, not a big name, just very round. So, I don't. And as far as the battery gate, as far as I know, guys, I'm the only one that's had this issue. I mean, I've seen some stuff in a couple of forums, but it seems to be that mine are the only one. And it's not that it's severe or anything. The batteries haven't bubbled or done anything since then. It's just really, really out there. And you guys know I'm a fanboy all the way. I wasn't putting the video up to. I was just like, guys, I don't know what's going on, and I was tripping. You know how it is. You get your first baby, and you've had it like 2 or 3 flights, and you're like, oh yeah, it's the best DJI drone ever. Oh my God, my battery. Hello, are you okay? And you just get, and I've like had some people that are like giving me crap, and I'm like, guys, I'm just putting up a video. I'm just telling you all what happened to me, and you all can look right here. You can see the bubbling on the battery there.
It's right there.
It's plain as day. This one's is like dismarked. It depends on how you can see it there. It looks like it's heating up that side of the battery too. And I didn't do anything to it. It wasn't, and I'm just like, what's going on? And then DJI they contacted me for a couple of days, and I'm like, guys, it's Father's Day weekend. What do y'all think? I'm just gonna like throw all this aside and then jump on. And I sent in the ticket early this morning, and as of yet, I've not heard anything. But to begin with, like when I put the video up the first time, right off the bat, I was actually getting. They sent me a couple of email or a couple of messages on YouTube, and then the one on Twitter. And like I said, I sent in the ticket this morning, and all I did was basically send in a link to the video and explained that there was some kind of odd bubbling. I was even going to do one of these. There's nothing like cooked DJI battery in the morning. I was like, no, that wouldn't be right. Because I mean, now here's what's trippy. I did read it.
If anybody hasn't seen this video, don't go watch it now. But the link to Bill's video is in the description. Once it shows over, go hit that link and watch the video. But don't leave us right now. Go ahead, Bill. I just wanted to.
Okay, guys. And another thing too. Anybody that wants to bash on me later, you can go ahead. You can call me Beat Red Bill because I spent today in the yard, and as you can tell, I look like a sharecropper. I'm all sunburnt and everything. But yeah, we're finally getting into the areas where we're trying to, we're starting to actually go out a little bit, and then a bunch of craziness going on today. But anyway, I started checking around, and I was thinking, okay, Mike from Philly Drone Life was saying, oh, it's your charger, man, it's your charger. And he saw my multi-charger back there for my quad, my FPV quads. He was like, oh, is that a third-party charger? And I was like, well, yeah, it is, but it's, not for DJI drones. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, I think he figured that part out of it. But anyway, I started looking through a couple of forums, and I found what they were talking about is the Fly app will glitch. And I want you all to tell me honestly right here and now, how many times when you're using the Go 4 app do you have mismatched firmware of any kind? And how many times have you used the Go Fly app and had mismatched firmware? The next flight, you'll be like, well, I just updated everything. And then it'll say mismatched firmware. And you got to sit there for 10 minutes while it updates, right?
Right. Well, you're right. I mean, the Go 4, I've never had a problem. The Fly app, even before the Mavic Air 2 came out, I had a problem with the Mini with the Fly app where it didn't complete the firmware version. I had to get the DJI Assistant 2 out and reflash the firmware that I started. So I did. I had an issue even before the Mavic Air 2 came out with the Mini with the Fly app.
Okay, so in the forums, they're talking that this glitch can potentially, when you're using the Fly app, can trick your drone into thinking that the battery firmware is up to date. Granted, shouldn't be that big a deal, but it depends on what's in that battery firmware update and what's in that particular firmware update for the drone. Because they could have redone the language for how the battery talks to the drone and all of that stuff. And that very well could have led to it. I don't know. I'm not trying to get DJI in trouble. I'm terrified to try to fly these two batteries,
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just afraid that I would get my $700 investment up in the sky and it would just go bloop, and they would go, well, that's what you get for putting a damaged battery back in your drone.
Yep.
But okay, now here's an update that I personally have found. The batteries, when you put them back in the drone, this battery has been the one flown the most, number one. So like I said in the video, I was actually trying to do good battery maintenance this time for once, because I don't fly my drones a whole boatload, so I don't get a ton of flights in them, but I wanted to do it the right way. So they're actually, see, there's the 1, and there's the 2 is the one that's still pristine. It's the one that's actually had 2 full flights with no issues. So, I was like, cool. And there was, I think it was, who was it? Was it Jody? I can't remember in the video exactly who it was. No, who was it? Was it somebody else? But they were talking about it could have potentially been a bad wrap. Like they were starting to separate, which was causing it to overheat and causing the bubble. But then when I found it in the forums about the Fly app, and they were talking about how glitchy it is and how many times we've all had to do. Okay, it was you, Jody. Thank you. And so everybody was talking about how glitchy the Fly app is and how many times that you've been out about to fly and it'll tell you something's not right. The controller's mismatched or the battery's mismatched or something. And you got to stand there for 5 or 10 minutes, depending upon what your connection's like at that time, to you to update the firmware before you can even fly. When we all try to update everything before we even walk out the door. Okay, well, here's what's scaring me. Here's another thing that's really spooky. Remember in the Go4 app, you can go into your batteries, you can check your amperage, you can check your charges, and you can check your battery firmware.
Yes.
You can't do that for any of the batteries in the DJI Fly app, which, considering, that it's firmware, I think you should be able to verify that everything's correct. That way you're not going to walk out the door with mismatched firmware in the first place.
Hey, so Bill, that one page where you can go in and you can ask it to check your firmware, have you tried that? What does that do?
Okay, are you ready? Here's the deal. So I finally I took these back and I was like, okay, I'm just going to see what happens. So I just put them in the drone while I was inside sitting right here at my desk. And I hooked it up to the phone through the Wi-Fi. The router's right here. Okay, so then I actually was physically watching the screen of the Fly app. I watched it throw up the battery update to begin with, and then it disappeared. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna pop back up, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm like, what? Okay, so I shut the drone down, and I shut the controller down, and I shut the phone down. I restart everything again, and I fire it up. Nothing. Okay, I'm going to try one more time. And I shut it all the way down, and I fired it back up, and it flashed the battery update, firmware update once, blanked out, and then it popped back up again, and it gave me the option to, or not the option, it locked me out until I updated the battery. And so I hit it.
Odd.
So I updated, I hit it and updated the battery. It said mismatched firmware, and it even gives you at the end of it, the typical, okay, you just installed DJI firmware. And it doesn't even tell you which particular device you did it to. It just tells you completed the task. And I'm like, okay, well that tells me, but still, okay, they're up to date now. But what's going to happen the next time so I can't put them back in my drone. I mean, I did it in here because I was like, okay, because I was reading in the forums and it said that it's a hit miss thing. And I had posted, I actually pinned the link to the forum discussion at the very top of that page. What we're talking about for that video. And it's like I said, some people will be like, oh, just fly it. Don't be a candy ass. Don't be a candy ass. And I'm just like, okay, but I don't, it's not like I can throw another $700, $800 away to get another one if it hits the ground. And then they say, DJI goes, well, we're not giving you a new one because you were so stupid to fly a bubble battery.
But Bill, I know you've got DJI refresh.
Yes. But here's the thing, I've submitted the ticket, everything, just like everybody said, and we're waiting. But I mean, the thing about I'm not here to bash DJI. I'm not like some people are thinking. Oh, he did that. He like took a lighter and went, and I'm like, no, I'll send it right in. I'll take they can take the logs, whatever they want. I didn't do any of that, and I guarantee you, it's going to show that weird flicker. Wouldn't it be weird though if it had to do like say, because I'm using where is it? My old Samsung Galaxy.
That was my next question, if you were Android or iOS.
Well, because think about it, man. They didn't update the damned iOS yet. I can't.
Right.
So, okay, here's
onto something there.
Yeah, but
here's another question.
My guess is Apple has that policy. They have to scrutinize all the app updates. So I'm just guessing that's Apple holding that update up.
Okay, so here's this. What happens if you update your drone and your controller and your batteries to the new firmware, but Apple only is running the old stuff that's running, the operating system for the old program? What happens then? I mean, I'm sure people aren't having trouble, but you don't have access to the new features. What does that do to the batteries and stuff inside the drone? I'm just kind of, the biggest thing that I'm really curious about now was when they were talking about the glitchy Fly app, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm having that all the time, mismatched firmware, and I'm like, but I know for sure I updated this, or even stranger, yeah, you've updated everything and you've double checked, and then you go out and it says the controller is mismatched, and you're like, huh? And you got to wait 10 minutes. So it's either like it's like they tried to lighten the load on Go 4, but they didn't quite figure, they didn't quite patch it all out before they threw it into a program, and now they're realizing, there's a few patches we missed, and it's causing minor little instances. There's that one. Who was the guy? Somebody posted it on my page too, about the guy in Hong Kong that actually burned a hole through it. That I showed the picture of his battery in that video. So that's just kind of odd. But he was the firmware before this. But it's really odd that the bubbling in that picture occurs in the same area that this was beginning.
Yeah. Hey, Ron, you see Lauren is asking to address that issue.
Well,
I wonder.
Point of order.
I'll send him a link.
Yeah. So I'm thinking he's asking for a link there. Well, this would be interesting, Bill, because he probably could at least shed a little bit more light on it for us. But
like I said, I'm afraid to fly my batteries. That's it.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
And it's like people are giving me crap on and I'm like, no, guys, it's not that at all. I'm just afraid to fly these batteries. That's it.
Well, yeah. And it'll be interesting to see what I'm going to find.
Lauren, check your Facebook Messenger for the link if you want to join us.
If DJI says, Bill, those batteries are perfectly fine. You're okay to fly them until they die. And if they dropped out of the sky in the next 2 or 3 flights, we'll give you a brand new drone and new batteries and everything. Then I'll be like, yeah, cool.
There you go. Right.
Yeah, but they need to tell me that first.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle it, won't it?
Yeah.
To see how they respond.
I think what it was they got kind of up. It seemed like they got upset that I didn't just jump on it right off the bat, because regardless of the fact that they want to give me 2 new batteries, I'm still curious about how it happened, and I'm gonna be curious about how it happened.
Right.
So I'm like, you all can take care of it and give me 2 batteries, but that doesn't mean I'm going to take my video down and go away. Not unless you're going to send me a Mavic 3 to test.
Oh. So let me ask you this, Bill. So, I watched your video, and I think just Thursday I did the update, because I'm on iOS. I only updated the drone and I guess the controller got updated. I forget. But anyhow, so I floated once.
Maybe that's what he's talking about the iOS running this particular grade, or I don't know.
Yeah. So I flew it one time since then with no issues, but now I'm afraid to do anything with that battery that I used. You know what I mean? Like I did the update, but I haven't charged it since. Now let me ask you another question. This bubbling is happening in the hub, or does it happen when you charge the battery inside the drone, or both?
It's no. It's not happening during the charging. It's happening during the flight, man. It's happening in the flight, man.
Okay.
So I missed that part too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't mean to leave that incomplete. Like I pull it straight off the battery. And the other thing I have noticed about the charger is that it tends to, you have to make sure that plug is really snug in there, because it has a tendency to want to, like, if you move it the least little bit, it tends to want to wiggle loose, or at least mine does. So I'm always making sure that it's mashed down. And of course, you can always just take it straight off and snap it on one battery too. So, yeah. I mean, you can do it that way also. But like I said, it seemed to charge fine. They seemed to do that part of it okay. And then when I hooked them up back to the phone and hooked up, but this is like the next level below. It's like, I can't believe it's too old to run the drone, man.
Oh yeah, no doubt it's capable. It's got to be something. I mean, I can't.
You guys see Laura? You see Lauren's comment pinned up on the screen now. He says, "I don't need the link. Just you may get a notification if the servers are too busy at the time." I assume he means at the time that you're trying to do the firmware update.
Okay, but okay. When I tried to do these batteries, it was 2 days later. Okay, and then I had to still try 2 or 3 times. I mean, okay, I get you. It could have possibly been coincidentally the same time that the servers were getting pounded, a couple days after the firmware update. What did DeMarco say? Oh, okay, they were talking about something else, maybe.
Yeah. I'm not sure what they were talking about. Start with a much cheaper. Somebody start with a much cheaper drone.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to argue with that comment. I think if you can afford it, start with a drone like the Mavic Air 2, because they fly so much better. What do you guys think? I mean, do you guys
we had a conversation?
We had
this conversation last week on one of the shows. Like, as great as the Mavic Mini is, I mean, and it's only $400. If you're the kind of person that you think you're going to get that, you're going to outgrow it, you might as well just get the Air 2 right away and save yourself buying 2 drones. What do you think, Bill?
I was actually thinking about, to be honest with you, I wasn't really listening to you at all. I was wondering if Ron would let me do a shameless plug for our show Wednesday night. And I was like looking back and forth.
Okay, it's the perfect time for a shameless plug, Bill.
But okay, well, see the cool. There's like 39 people. I'm sorry, I started talking again. But anyway, on Wednesday night, once a month on Coast to Coast Drones on Drone Therapy, which Ron happens to be an everlasting panel member of, we try to give back to the drone community. So we get anybody and everybody that shows up in the chat. We try to highlight your channel. Like the last month, Billy Kyle joined us. It was kind of helping critique channels and stuff. Yeah. And plus, it had been like over a year since he'd been on the show, and like everybody was like catching up. And so, but it was cool. But yes, we're definitely going to. So please come over there Wednesday night, and we'll highlight your channels. We'll show your channels off. We'll act stupid. We'll act crazy. I probably won't drink and won't get inebriated, but I'll be as honest as I possibly can. Maybe even funny too. I don't know. I'll try. But yeah, so please come over there Wednesday night for support your local drone channel. Coast to Coast Drone. Yes.
Don't miss it. Okay, if you want your channel shout it out, come in. Okay, we got a special, a second secret special guest joining us all the way from sunny and warm Canada. It's Lauren.
Warm Canada.
Calgary, where the land of the Calgary Stampede.
Yeah, not this year.
No,
I saw where Mike said Billy who.
My wife is devastated because they canceled the Pendleton Roundup too.
Yeah. No, it was canceled this year. Yeah. Just a quick clarification on your updates and stuff. And Android and iOS use 2 different servers.
Uh-huh.
And if you go to check for an update, you may not get it even though it's there. If the servers are too busy at that time, you ever open up your Fly app or your Go4 app, and it says checking current version? Yeah, that's when it's talking to the server, and if the server is not too busy, then it'll give you a notification. If servers are too busy, it's just like carry on with your business.
I'm trying to figure out what caused this, and I'm glad it didn't get any worse.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and I don't know what it is. It very well may or may not be that. I have no clue. And like I said, the biggest thing is I'm afraid to put these back in my drone, until I know something. And then
turn your battery sideways.
Turn it sideways. I'm not seeing any bubbling.
No, turn it sideways.
I know what you're trying to look like this.
Yeah. So notice the metal clip.
Yeah.
Okay. Now look in the battery bay of your drone.
All right. There's nothing. There's no burn marks or anything.
Yep. Now look where those clips hit the drone. You see, there's contacts there, right?
Yeah.
That makes sure that your battery is properly seated, right? Because like with the Mavic 2s, for example, they're notorious for bubbling batteries, right?
Right.
And your battery may not seat, and it could lose contact mid-flight. Now, I don't know if you're aware or not, but with if the battery's not seated, you'll actually get a warning on your app.
Makes
that
sense.
says check your battery, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you don't think so, try not seating your battery properly next time, and you'll get that warning in your app.
Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah. Now, just a quick question for you, Bill. Do you always remove your batteries right after your flight?
Yep.
Okay. Nope. Fair enough.
And then somebody else asked me on my channel there, said, well, do you charge them up the night before? No, I don't charge them until I'm getting ready to go fly.
Yeah. No, just sometimes.
I'm not trying to do it right this time.
Heat, as you know, heat just like cold is a battery's worst enemy.
Yeah.
They like a good moderate temperature. And so, like I always recommend pulling the batteries as soon as possible after your flight, and let them cool down before you even charge them. Most of the batteries have kind of a thermal protection that it will not charge until the battery's down to a certain temperature. So
Lauren, I have a quick question for you. So I've noticed that you have a different background there now. Usually we see drone boxes behind you.
Yep, I'm in my new studio.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a good reason for it.
He has good lighting. I have my office.
Hey, Laura, any theories to what could have happened to Bill's batteries? Do you think it could be kind of some sort of an issue with the update process?
You want to know something? Seriously, I think it's just a bad battery. Like when you make
but am I cool with this one that's like oddly discolored too? Like this one? That one's fine. See, it's a weird. I don't know. Y'all saw it. There it is. So you can see it now. And I'm just, like I said, I'm afraid to put it back in the drone. I mean, not to fly. I can put it in and see, if I can do a log thing if they need me to or something, but I'm not going to put it back in the air, either one of them.
Do you use air data at all?
No, sir, I don't. Because I don't fly as much as everybody else. I don't crank out review videos every day. I tend to stick with one drone, and I do the Skydio here and there too. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I use air data just like a lot of people, and one of the key things that I like about it is you can check your batteries for any issues and any glitches and stuff like that. I highly recommend it to anybody and everybody because you can get the free version, right? You don't need to pay for a subscription or stuff like that.
To be honest with you, I'd really like the app that I get from DJI, kind of like the old Gold 4 app, to be able to tell me what the firmware was for the batteries that I've got now, so I don't have to go through all the extra little fences and jumps and ramps and coops and just use my stuff. I don't want to get too complicated, and that's just me.
Okay. Do you use DJI Assistant at all?
Yes, I do, sir. And the whole point is it doesn't give you battery. You can't access battery firmware in the Air 2s. Not that I've found anywhere.
Okay, sorry, different version than what I'm running. So
yeah, it's the new version. It came out April 28th. It includes the new Mavic Air 2, and you still can't find out jack but voltage and how many charges you put on the batteries. It's going to be the same thing for it and the same thing for the Mini. I don't know if it has to do with the I don't know. I don't understand it. It's like I said, I'm just trying to figure out why, and I'm grasping at straws. Yeah. And the firmware just seems culprit.
I think you just got bad batteries, because like when you make 100,000 batteries, if you think everyone's going to be perfect, no.
It's like Jody said, it could be a bad wrap. It could just be one lot that's a bad wrap. That's it. Yep. But the thing about it is what scares me about that is it's a fly more pack, and all 3 batteries came from that lot. So now you've just made it worse. Could happen. I can't fly at all.
It could happen. It's very likely it could have all come from the same lot.
Yeah, I know that. That's what kills me with the logic, because I'm like, oh wait a minute, here you go, Ron. I want to give you a share screen. Okay. This is straight. This is a little bit of playing. No, I don't want to shoot. No. Don't show me these tips again, because I keep forgetting. Because usually I don't. Heads up.
Now, while he's searching for that, do we think that DJI will replace these batteries once they get all the information from Bill?
I don't see why they wouldn't.
Okay,
it should be covered under your warranty.
Okay, here we go. We're sharing Bill's screen.
That's pretty much off the card. I mean, I've done a little bit. You can see I've only played a little bit with it in Luminar, but I'll go over here and I will. Let's see. Here you go. This is straight off the card.
These are smart photos or regular or 48 megapixel?
This is a smart photo.
Smart photo.
Wow, that looks good, Bill.
Yeah, look at this cloud, that detail.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. That's the drone. I'm not doing anything.
Well, that's my point. That is awesome, man.
Yeah. And that's me kind of throwing a little spinash on it.
Warmed up a little bit, yeah.
Well, I want to cut down on the bottom. I want to darken this a little bit, and Jim's got me addicted to luminosity masks now.
Right.
So,
right.
And that's who I was talking about. Jim is like kind of interested in coming on the show. Anyway, thank you very much for sharing that. And that's what I'm talking about. I don't want to stop being able to, because the cloud formations, and yes, I know people who watch my channel have seen my bay a million times. But the whole point is I'm showing the evolution of DJI drones, because I've gone through the years on one subject matter so that they could use all my material to show how they've included all this. And if you believe that, I got a bridge in Albuquerque.
Well, I mean, I've been, ever since I saw your video, I was checking all my batteries constantly. And, I hope it does just come down to it's just a rack of bad batteries. And I hope DJI
Here's another thing, though. Here's another thing. Here's another thing to think of. Just how big is a DJI lot of batteries?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it 1,000? Is it 10,000?
So my advice would be everybody to check their batteries, after every flight for a while, until you're sure this issue isn't going to spread, isn't spreading by maybe not a bad rack. Maybe there is something more to it. We just don't know at this point.
Okay, I got a question, because Lauren was saying if you couldn't talk to the server, that you may or may not get the mismatch, and you might not get the firmware update. Okay, so he's saying if you don't, then you go on as business as usual. So now here's the thing. I thought you were locked out, but the way so you can just hit cancel and go on with mismatch firmware and it'd still fly okay?
Should be able to, yeah.
Okay, so it's got to be it's got to be just a bunch of bad batteries. It may not even be. It could have been that the case of my batteries got dropped somewhere between here and there.
I don't know why I dropped the baby.
Yeah. Please, I need to feed my family.
Hey, while we're on that point, Laura, in layman's terms, I kind of understand what the firmware, upgrades do for the drone. But what exactly do they do for the battery? Do they control the temperature of the battery? I know everyone's different, but what typically does a firmware upgrade to a battery do?
Well, usually.
Typically, I know it can be different every time.
I got an idea.
For people that update their store their flight logs on DJI, right?
Mhm.
They will go through the battery firmware or the battery records, right, and see if there's something that stands out that maybe there's some glitches in the battery, and there's things that they can possibly address to resolve any issues with the batteries. And like when you've got thousands of people around the world with multiple batteries, it gives them a pretty good database on any little issues that they might be seeing, and as somebody was stating early, in some ways everybody's a beta tester, right?
Mhm.
And so if you see the issue and you've got 100,000 batteries that are showing up there, and the data is all pretty similar, that maybe we might need to tweak this a little bit, eh? So, and that's quite often why your battery firmware is, or to change your rates. Like anybody into electronics, one of the key things that you have to monitor is rate of rise, right? Like if you've got too quick of current draw and stuff like that, you can actually make the battery explode, because a high rate of rise can be misconstrued as a dead short, right? And you don't want that. So that's one of the things that they kind of monitor is in the usage is like the rate of rise, for example. But does that answer anything?
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you.
Well, I had a kind of different way. It was like a firmware update sometimes takes out words in a vocabulary and adds new words to a vocabulary. So each one of those components needs to have the old words removed and the new words added so it can talk to everything. You're totally correct on that as well, is because you might have a battery firmware update to keep the compatibility with new drone firmware, right? Yeah. So that happens as well. But if you just get a battery firmware upgrade and you haven't had a drone firmware upgrade, they've probably noticed something in the battery and they're fixing it. Mm-hmm. Oh, that makes sense too. Yeah. So like I said, hopefully they'll get back to me, because now I'm concerned about the one that still looks good.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How you coming with that Snoqualmie Falls video?
Snoqualmie Falls video.
I just threw it out.
That's the Snoqualmie Falls video. Nah,
I'm just messing with you.
Especially not now, considering because we have a long-term care facility, so we're the absolute last people that they let out.
Yeah. I was just messing with you, Bill.
What's even crazier is our clients get to go out before we do. We have to wait all the way till phase 4.
Yeah.
But it's kind of but I guess what that worries me up here is going out somewhere by myself on one of these areas where I could actually take off and get over to the falls, legally, and take a picture. And somebody coming up and going, "Hey, how you doing?" Oh, there's nobody else around, is there? I'm way out here in the mountains and there's nobody else around. So, it's one of them kind of things. I like, and it's kind of cool because I can fly here in the backyard, and when my grandkids come by and stuff, I can show them the cool pictures and everything. And especially if it's the Skydio, I can say, "Here, Luke, you just go ahead and fly it." He'll be like, "Yeah, it won't hit the tree. It won't hit the tree. It won't hit the." What? I don't want to play anymore.
Hey, good story. Hey, maybe Lauren can comment on this. Maybe can't. Drone DJ released the article today saying that DJI filed a patent for a new iOS stabilization system.
Wrong place. I think it was Drone XL, wasn't it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, probably both.
Let's back up a little bit.
Actually, they both carried that story, but
okay.
Yes. But yeah, it's basically image stabilization for something new that's coming out.
We had a couple people. I think it may have been help me out. We met him at CES. He lives in Colorado. Drone flyer.
Sean Oliver?
He predicted a while back. He said that I think it was him. He said he thinks in a couple of years it'll be all iOS. The mechanical gimbal will be going away.
EIS, electronic.
And everything will be electronic.
With OIS in it. Optical.
I'm stuck on Apple today. The WWDC, and by the way, Apple announced no drones today.
The thing about it is the OIS basically adds the fourth axis that we've always needed.
Right.
If you think about it, man, that's gonna. And I don't see the mechanical gimbal ever disappearing, because even though we can add that fourth axis digitally now, which is really going to just make things incredible, especially in a drone. I just don't see it disappearing because of the 4-axis deal.
It's not for what you think. I'll leave it.
I was thinking it was for an action camera. I thought they were going to update the Osmo Actions. What I'm thinking. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking it's for. Because you look at the framing and everything, it looks almost identical.
Oh God, I wasn't supposed to show this, was I, Lauren? Gosh darn it, I forgot.
You're a DNA on that camera.
But did
That's
you
it,
see
Bill.
that?
What's your name, Marcus?
Yeah, what's your name?
You're fired. Oh, I sound like Trump now, don't I? You're fired.
Marcus needs to send all the guests on tonight's show a matching size of their T-shirt that he's going to send to them, right?
You know, I got 2 of these, one for my wife and one for me. I ordered them off of that Custom Ink, and holy cow, is it expensive ordering them, one at a time like that.
Well, if you go through Teespring, you can get samples for like $8.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for yourself.
I better look at Teespring then.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was Custom Ink, and I think I got one for Sarah and one for me, and I think they were like, oh gosh, $29 a piece, something like that.
My problem is I change logos like most people change underwear, like daily. So people are like, "Oh, who are you today? Oh, cool logo. I can't get you."
You got it wrong. That makes the other ones, the older ones, collectible.
But guess who bought all of those?
There you go.
I'm my biggest fan, man. And my kids have all kinds of T-shirts, and they're pristine because they've never left their closet.
There you go.
No, my kids just aren't into drones like me. And that's like you all were talking earlier about Zino 1 as opposed to Zino 2, and I didn't jump on the Zino 2 bandwagon because it scared me pretty bad. So yeah. Well, the Zino 1, when they found, because I waited till the soft focus issue got worked out, and then I was like, no, this is actually a pretty cool little drone now. But it's just sitting down there in Seattle, and they never fly. And they're sitting probably about, I don't know, 3.5 miles from SeaTac, right at where you can get 200-foot clearance. Can you imagine sitting at 200 feet high, watching planes take off out of SeaTac?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, but they're like, I don't really, no. Thank you. Well, no, excuse me. That my sons wouldn't talk with a Southern accent. But anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and they've got he's got a Tello that's probably been thrown 2 or 3 times. Those things, I need to put them in a time capsule. That's what it is. Yeah, okay. I'm going to shut up again. I've been talking too much.
Marcus, I think Potassic just came. They got a patent too for a new digital immunization system. We talked about this for the show. I know we got to it later here, but Marcus got a new drone in last week. The Dreamer, a 4K photography drone came in last week for review. And Marcus has a video up for it. I have to admit, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen all of it yet. But
you didn't miss much.
Is that the one? Is that the one that comes with the Femi tattoo?
That looks like a Femi drone. Exactly.
Okay, it's just a tattoo, though.
Yeah.
And it looks like it has a 3-axis gimbal in it.
Yeah. I don't know what I did with the boxer. I'd grab it, but yeah, it looks like it has a 3-axis gimbal.
Wait. He said looks like. What's that? So it does.
No, that's the point, Bill. I mean, so one of the things that I continually try and do on my channel is I like being able to show people that don't have a lot of money that you can enjoy this hobby without spending a lot of bucks. So I keep exploring some of those lower end, ones that are right on the cusp between a toy and a.
I'm going to be honest with you. No, you can't, man.
But
Once you get started, you can buy 1 or 2 drones, and then you get in there and you get one. It can be the most horrible 720p video you've ever seen in your life, and you're going to snap a photo or 2, and you're going to come in, you're going to go, honey, it's incredible. You're not, look at this. It's unbelievable. And she's going to go, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever.
Well,
okay, yeah. And then you're like, and then you come back and you're like, but baby, okay, granted, they don't look that great. The video's not that great, but this drone that's like $500. Now it takes pictures like you wouldn't believe. And then again, she's just like, okay, just okay, yeah. And then you're like, baby, look at these pictures. She's like, oh, these are but and then you're like, but baby, now this $900 drone, you won't believe the pictures it takes. And at this point, your wife's going,
Make the bed in the doghouse.
And then you come back a month or 2 later, and you're like, baby, there's this $1,500 drone. And she's like, here are the papers to sign.
I am fortunate in that my wife supports my hobby entirely. I could spend $5,000 on a drone and she would smile, and because if it made me happy, it would make her happy. So, but my point is this: that if I know that there's a lot of people that cannot, spending $300 on a drone is a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So, and so I'd like to search and see if I can find something. It doesn't have to be grand video. It doesn't have to be, but it at least has to be stable, and the drone has to at least fly decently and return to home and all those kind of things. And the point is, I have not found that product yet. The closest I've come is the original Zino. The original Zino is the one that I always recommend to people.
You ever flown a Bucks 2?
I have not flown a
Bucks. You need to fly a Bucks 2. For the money, you're not going to beat it for a GPS drone. And then if you want to be picky and technical about it, if you can get a good deal on a 501, there's your drone for the money.
Talking about a 501, it's crap. It's crap, Bill. I mean, it's not stable video. It's all over like this.
Yeah, well, I'm just okay. Well, I like the bugs, really and truthfully, I do.
Does the bugs have stabilized video?
No, not at all.
That's not going to work for me. I'm looking for somebody. What I want to be able to show people is a true video drone that has stabilized video that can get them excited about the hobby. And those cheaper ones, they might have good GPS, Bill, to your point, and they might fly good, but when the video is all over like this, it's garbage. And that's what this potential.
The bugs is a pretty stout little bird. And it actually, it sits pretty steady in the sky. And if it has to, it doesn't really, I don't know, Ron, do you really think it bounces around? I mean, to that extent? And I live right next to the water.
Yeah. So. I mean, it does better than most toy drones, but, it doesn't mimic any type of a gimbal or whatever.
Right. It's just a fixed camera. But I'm saying, I mean, you can find them for like what, $150 now?
I'll tell you what, Bill. I thought the Bugs 3, which came before it, which didn't have GPS. If you were a good flyer and could study hand, you could get studier video out of that.
Oh yeah, with like a GoPro hook to the bottom.
Yeah.
Or you can roll it down a pine tree like I did.
Well,
and I had a wait a minute. I had the what is it? The Firefly. What is the
Firefly camera? It looks like a webcam. Yeah.
Yeah, and John Coopy was the one that hooked me up with it anyway.
Good night, Lauren. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Sorry. I tend to talk and ramble on. I tend to think like we're all just hanging out in a room somewhere, and there's nobody else around.
Laura doesn't do toy drones, so we lost him.
Well, I mean, I see his point. We all have done that before. It's because like every Christmas time, we're always trying to find the best introductory, inexpensive, And I'm still okay. Y'all go ahead. I'm going to grab something. I got to take my earphones out. Y'all go ahead.
Well,
Okay.
I'm just saying the only one the closest
This
thing
was-
I've found yet is the original Zino, period.
Mark, are you allowed to talk about your new drone coming in, or is that still top secret?
Which new drone
You told
coming?
me about the other night.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Yep. But not yet, Ron.
Okay,
Two axis gimbal on a toy drone.
Oh yeah, look, there you go. What was that next K, Bill?
Yeah, it is. It's a clone, but this one was like the Phantom XY is what they called it.
And that's a 2-axis gimbal.
And yeah, a 2-axis gimbal on a toy drone right there.
Well, so how does the video look, Bill?
It's 720. So, but I mean, but the gimbal performs very well, even for a 2-axis toy gimbal. So, and this, like I said, this is not 10 years old, probably 6 years old, maybe 6 years old, 7 years old.
Yeah, maybe in the 5-year range. Now, what did that cost when it was new? Like about 150 or?
The RC Hunter gave me a code for it, and I got it for $149 shipped from China.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought it, and it's my wife's drone, and she doesn't fly it too much, but she likes to stabilize drones better.
And that's a non-GPS, right?
No, it's just it's a non-GPS. It's just got the altitude hold and stabilized flight, 6-axis.
And that's even what a breast motor drone.
Oh yeah, it's loud too. And she handles like a tank in the air. So it's like you got to have a wide berth. Like, so if you're doing 20 miles an hour, you got to have 50 yards to stop. So you slam it up like this, and it's just going to go whoosh.
Hey, so John Spizzo is making a good point in the chat there, Ron. He's talking about Bebop too, which John, that's one of Ron and I's favorite subjects. That Bebop 2, it is an underrated drone, and it has amazing electronic image stabilization. Now, $225, that's a great buy. Ron and I recently were looking, and I couldn't find them that cheap. In fact,
mostly it's like $500.
Yeah, I saw them much more expensive than that. So.
Okay, here's the thing: are they still manufacturing new Bebop 2 batteries? Because kind of like they did with the original Bebop 1.
Good point, Bill. At some point, you won't get a battery for it. You're absolutely right.
Yep. Yeah.
And I hate to say it because we know what happened to that other drone. It was a nice drone, and then it just kind of died, and that was it.
Right. That's an excellent point. That's the truth, and that's what you worry about on things like that. Now, like I said, I keep going back to the original Zino, in that it's a GPS, decent stabilized video, and you can buy it for $254 on Banggood right now.
Or
still making batteries for it.
Say again, Ron.
And still making batteries for it.
Yeah, and the batteries are cheap. The batteries, you can typically get them for like $30 a piece on eBay or Amazon. Yeah.
They already got a bunch of batteries over here for the original. You don't have to ship them from China.
Well, when you order them off Amazon, they come from an Amazon warehouse. So.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, so maybe I should call the boys on because I think they're coming because of my wife. Okay. Well, this is kind of cool because I was also going to do this. I got one more surprise announcement. Tomorrow is my wife's birthday.
Oh.
So I'm going to wish my wife, Josephina Thomas, a very happy birthday. And she has if you go to Coast Drones and you look over on the side and it says recommended channels or something, and there's a picture of 2 wiener dogs, 2 piebald wiener dogs. That's my wife's channel. So if y'all get a chance, just go over there and look at one of the wiener dog videos and tell her happy birthday. That'd be cool. Even if it was just 1 or 2, that'd be nice.
Awesome.
I'll tell her again. I'll tell her again Wednesday night on the show.
Yeah.
Great.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I keep changing the subject. Sorry, guys. I feel like I'm stepping on your gas.
Well, we covered about every subject we were going to cover.
Yeah, I think we're back to the end, aren't we, Ron?
Yeah, we're getting near the end here. I mean, we've again, I made everybody alert of the battery issue. Again, you may not have Bill's battery issue, but it wouldn't hurt to careful.
Well, it's one of two things. It's either the weird glitchy firmware, and I know he was trying to brush that off, but then when he was like, "Have you tried Assistant 2?" and I was like, "Yes, the new one, that's really for the DJI," and I was like, I don't know, but it seems more logical that it's possibly a bad lot, or it could be something as simple as, like I said, they got dropped, like a case of 50 of them got dropped. It could be any of that. It could be some weird glitch that the programming code from the firmware didn't stick. It could be it's missing part of it, and when I hooked it back up, it kind of refreshed it and cleaned it up. Who knows? It could be a bazillion things.
Only DJI knows for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And hopefully they get back to you with some sort of answer to give you a little peace of mind.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, like I said, I still. What? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's the part that's most important, right? How DJI responds to you and what they do to mitigate the issue.
Yeah. Because I'm trying. I've racked my brains for what I may have done, and it's like people
didn't do anything, Bill. Yeah, I mean, you didn't, right? You've flown drones forever. It's something that happened.
This is what's so crazy. This was the first drone that I really got anal about and was like, I'm going to go ahead and number all of my batteries and keep up with all that. And, maybe I should consider air data, but what kills me about air data was we had all that data in Go 4. It just wasn't always, uploaded or something like that. But if you wanted to, you could go in and check and jot down stuff for your own personal notes.
Hey, Bill, I'm going to interrupt, but I didn't get the chance to ask Lauren, is air data an app?
It's a website, Ron. And
okay, sorry. Okay, the website.
Yeah, what it does is you send your log files to it, and it can tell you where you flew, what you did, how your drone flew, if one ESC acted a weird way. But the whole point is shouldn't you get that from your DJI software?
Well, yeah.
If you're paying $1,500 for a drone, shouldn't you get that from you? Like you said, in the free version of air data, you can still get a lot of information, but you got to pay to get the real stuff. And I'm thinking, well, man, I just paid $1,500 for the drone. I'm going to pay another $100 and what? Okay, I take that.
You paid $988 for the flight.
I'm talking about. We're jumping all the way back to like the Mavic 2 Pro.
Right.
That kind of deal. So we'll do like you're saying. We'll go with the Mavic Air. We'll say you only paid $799 for your drone, and then you paid the extra $200 for the 2 extra batteries. Yada yada yada. But the whole point is I invested that $1,000. I want to be able to have as much knowledge as I can to protect that. It's like, why do I have so many gauges on my car? So I'll know if there's an issue and take it to the mechanic. That's the whole point. That way I don't drive it down the road and all of a sudden the wheels fall off. Right. Or I'm, like with my drone, it's 200 feet or 300 feet in the air and suddenly it just says, okay, I'm done.
Right to the lake.
And then the whole time you're just like.
Yeah.
And then your wife's like, hi, honey, what time are you coming home? No.
Yeah. But just to be a little fanboyish here on the air too. I mean, you said you got really into with this drone because I think we all kind of love this little Air 2 more than I think we ever thought we would.
No, I knew I was going to love it. Remember, I was the one trying to convince Sean. Remember, Sean Oz was like, no, it doesn't come close to the original style.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be blown away by this drone, man. I was like, you need to just go ahead and jump on because remember, I kept giving him a hard time in all his live streams. And I was like, I was the one person that was like cheerleading for it. So I'm like, yeah, okay. And I do. I think it's phenomenal. And the 360s and the panoramas are unreal. I went and took a couple of those day before yesterday too.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I get more amazed with it every time I take it out and maybe learn to do something better with it. I mean, I'm still on that learning curve trying to learn all I can do, but I have a great time every time I take this thing out.
I like shooting slow-mo in it too. That's fun.
I haven't done that yet.
Well, I shot slow-mo wiener dog, but I don't know what I did.
I saw that video. I saw the video. Yep.
I think I showed it on the show was what I did. I don't think I ever. That's what who was it? Billy was saying, like, you got hours of footage. It's not just the back bay behind your yard, but you don't ever upload videos. And I was like, oh, no.
Someday you'll have it all on a hard drive, and you'll get it all out there someday.
Someday you'll have it all on about 4 hard drives. There's like one there, there's one back there, and there's 2 over there. Look, there's even I can't unplug it. I don't know. Maybe I can let you see it though. I've got the. Can you see it? Can you see the DJI? It's right there towards the edge. There it is.
Yeah. I got it.
And that's another 2 terabytes there.
Okay. Wow.
So there's like hard drives spotted out everywhere.
I got like a 10 gigabyte hard drive last year, and I'm starting to fill it up already. But we could go on all night about hard drives and footage, so we all have it, whatever. But it's almost 10:30, so we're gonna get out of here. But I want to thank our special guest, Bill Thomas, for coming on today. Bill Thomas was on ZinoNation episode 1, so he is always welcome back on the show. And and again, his tale about the batteries, I found it very interesting, and I hope nobody else hasn't. But I hope DJI sends him 3 new batteries. But
all right, Ron, you get the bonus check this week.
Yeah, I'm shooting for it or whatever. Yeah. But anyhow, and before I let everybody, you guys say your goodbyes, I want to shout out everybody in the chat for being here today. A lot of our regulars were in here. I'm sorry I didn't get to address everybody tonight, but a lot of great comments. I want to thank Sam Burns for helping us with the Feed Me X8 story, whatever. Sam was one of the unfortunate people who had his order canceled. But anyhow, and I want to make a couple shout outs. Tomorrow night we got Jim from Above and Beyond Drones on at 8. Bill, the drone reviewers on 8. Mikey and I are on at 9 tomorrow night. This is all Eastern Standard Time. Bill, me, John, and maybe Ethan Wednesday night on Coast to Coast Drones, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Ken Herron, of course, on Thursday nights. Mitch is on when?
Mitch is before Ken Herron on Thursday
too. Mitch on Thursday.
Sunday also.
Arco Drones. I think it's 5 o'clock my time on Saturdays.
Yes, I got an idea, Ron. Y'all remember the old trade papers you used to pick up at your local store that would tell you about lawnmowers and cars?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to start printing those for our drone TV. So that we'll just hand them out in our local area. How's your local drone YouTube network doing tonight? Okay. And Ron's coming on over there in the Idaho area. Ron's going to be up there on the coast in the Jersey areas. And Bill's going to be over there in the Pacific Northwest. And
don't forget Sunday night in southern Spain.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Drone Seekers.
We got Drone Seekers International, 3 p.m. my time, Eastern Standard Time, every Sunday. A lot of people are in sunny Spain. Mel's on later on that day. I think he's on 7 at my time. And then Grumpy Vlogger, 8 p.m. Monday nights Eastern Standard Time. And I think I hit most of the shows. So I'm going to throw it to Bill, and then Bill can throw it to Marcus to say your goodbyes and wrap up. And we'll be out of here. I've said my goodbyes, so I'll let those guys do it. Bill?
I was trying to throw it to Marcus, but he wasn't going to catch.
Oh, okay.
You were throwing it to Ron. You were throwing it the wrong way.
Okay, that's right. Okay, wait a minute. This way. There we go. But it'd be even cooler if you could pull out the tape measure and do like I was playing with it. But no, I'm very grateful for y'all having me on tonight. Like I said, I'm not here to bash DJI. I just wanted to, and I think it's just one or two things. But I'm leaning towards, like Lauren was saying, it's probably just some weird little quirk with the batteries. But I'm still going to fly the one that doesn't look like it's having issues, because nobody's told me I shouldn't up to now. But I'm not going to fly these two. So thank you very much. Please join me and Ron, and I don't know about Ethan yet, and John. Maybe Gary might come on for a little while, depending on how things are going. But we're going to show off everybody else's channel. I had an idea, too, and since Ron's give me a couple minutes to let me run my mouth again, what we're going to do is, if you all see, if you're like from an international channel or something like that, and you want to shout us out, if you can just comment on like one of our previous shows with a link to your channel, we'll try to load you up and start with you guys at the first of the show or something. But we just want to try to highlight as many channels and kind of do like, you know, a lot of them do what they're trying to build your subscribers and stuff, because, you know, some of those channels kind of drop off, but we're trying to stay drone oriented. So at least if it's a drone channel, they won't sub, and then as soon as you sub, unsub. You know what I mean? It seems like when you go to these other channels and they're trying to build your page, if it's not in the same genre that they're in, as soon as you subscribe, they're like, out of here. You know? So at least this way, it's a drone channel, checking out a drone channel, and the odds are a lot better. So we try to highlight everybody's channel and show everybody's channel off at least once a month. Thank you very much. And off to you, Mr. Marcus Crawford.
Why, thank you so much, Bill. That sounds like it's going to be a good show on Wednesday night. I guess a project that I've been thinking about, and Ron and I discussed this a little bit, is I've been looking at that focus track on the Mavic Air 2, and I kind of want to take a deep dive into that. So I'm going to experiment around with it a little bit, and I'm going to do my best to kind of come up with a comprehensive video that goes through all of the aspects of focus track. It's an interesting program that DJI added for us, and it's a little different than how they've done it in the past. So I've kind of touched on some tracking videos.
I was going to show Bob my United We Drone t-shirt. My wife's already done something with it. Shit.
But anyway, that's about it for me, Ron. So yeah, thank you. Great show tonight.
Sorry, Marcus, I didn't realize you were still
okay, Joe. We're all good, man.
Because I saw Bob's name, and everybody's typing up the United We Drone, and my t-shirt was hanging like right there, like 45 minutes ago. And I go out there to grab it, and it's gone. And I was like, uh-oh, I must have done something wrong, man. I must be in trouble, and I don't know it yet.
You don't know yet. That's the worst. Oh, all right. Good night, everybody, and we will see you, next week, same time, and we'll hopefully we have a decent show for you. So everybody out there, stay safe.